Our travels in this edition of Hometowns and Heroes takes us to Williams, Arizona. It's the home of our current hometown hero. Before we meet our hometown hero, here's a little bit of history about Williams, Arizona. When you think of stories of the Old West in America, include Williams. Back in 1881, Williams was founded and named for Bill Williams, one of America's most well-known mountain men, explorer, fur trapper, and pathfinder. Since the 1880s and through the years, all tourists originate their trip to the south rim of the Grand Canyon through Williams, Arizona, traveling by horse, wagon, or car, and the Grand Canyon Railway. To add to the already established tourist trade, in 1926, Williams boomed even more when the historic Route 66 went right through Williams, again making it a necessary stop along the way to the Grand Canyon, this time by car, or by further going on to the West Coast. 1980 put a dent in this booming business in Williams, Arizona for Route 66 tourism, when Interstate 40 bypassed Williams, the last town of the original Route 66. Our hometown hero, Mayor John W. Moore, had a big hand in helping Williams reinvent itself once again. Under his leadership, Mayor Moore has been instrumental in building Williams into one of America's top small-town places for family fun and vacationing, adding many more new events and attractions. And as the slogan says, Williams has it all.
I am John W. Moore, Mayor of Williams, Arizona. The W stands for William. I actually lived and worked all over the state of Missouri. Basically grew up in Columbia, Missouri, which is the University of Missouri. I went to school in Columbia, and from there, I got involved in law enforcement and worked different places in the state. In 1985, my wife and I traveled through Williams, and we had always wanted to come to Arizona. A few months later, I saw an application for police chief, so I applied and ended up getting the job and moved here in January 1st, 1986, and have been here ever since. But the Grand Canyon Railway and train originally started in the 1900s, early 1900s, by a gentleman named Bucky O'Neill. And it was developed to haul ore and stuff out of the mine in the Grand Canyon. After that, it continued to haul freight and water to the Grand Canyon. Then in 1968, the freight line continued. And then in the 1980s, they started talking about a revival for the train for the Grand Canyon Railway and turned it into passenger service. But basically, the Grand Canyon Railway was started by a gentleman named Max Biegert and his wife, Thelma. At the time, I was police chief, and I worked part-time for Mr. Biegert, helping develop the Grand Canyon Railway. Some of the plans that were put forth on that was the Cataract Creek Gang, which is the cowboy train robbery, the musical entertainment that's on the train. That same entertainment now carries over to the streets and town of Williams. It's a very popular program for the tourists throughout the whole country, in fact. And what happens is they do a show on the train, and then after the train, they do a show on the streets of Williams from Memorial Day till Labor Day. Governor Rose Mofford at the time wanted to ride the train. She wanted to do a train robbery. Her security said no, but because I was police chief and because I could recruit other officers to be the train robbers, they agreed to it, and that was the first train robbery to occur on the Grand Canyon Railway. We had DPS officers, we had Coconino County deputy sheriffs, we had City of Williams police officers, and the Bill Williams Mountain Men, and that was the first train robbery that we did on the Grand Canyon Railway. The Polar Express, I think we're on our 22nd or 23rd year. We will be doing the Polar again this year. There was some question about it because of the COVID-19, but the Grand Canyon Railway and the City of Williams have decided to move forward with the Polar Express. at a reduced ridership so we can maintain the safety that we need to maintain for the public. You know, I've always been associated with the Old West. You know, the Old West, and some people ask me for a definition of the Old West, and it's a thought and a place in your mind, not a real country. But it all started in Missouri, basically out of St. Louis. Started the early years of the mountain men, and then the wagon trains coming west started there. So yeah, I wore a cowboy hat and rode horses in Missouri. I grew up on a farm, which is different there than here. We have ranches here. I guess we've got farms in Arizona too, but up in the Williams area, we've got ranches and some big ones. So I wore a cowboy hat. It's not always this hat. And I guess it's become a signature hat, as you mentioned, not because I designated that, because the people that I've came into contact with over the years, the city folk and other people they've designated it as a signature hat. That's the mayor from Williams, Arizona. You know, my spare time is doing my job as mayor. I love my job as mayor. I love this town of Williams. I love the people in it. So I would say that my spare time is my job. That's what I do. And I guess I could say I don't really have any spare time. I'm busy doing something all the time, and I like it that way. Oh yes, I've got a few horses. I've got, of course, we mentioned the Cataract Creek Gang and the train robbery. I provide the horses for that. I have my own horse. I've always had horses all of my entire life. Speaking of golf, we got a great golf course. We got an 18-hole golf course, and I think I mentioned this a while ago. Great clubhouse, great golf pro. Our vice mayor, Don Dent, is a golfer. And I asked Don, I said, Don, would you participate as vice mayor? Don's been in city council here for many, many years. He said, I will, except one thing. I will never work on Wednesday. That's my golf day. So I respect that, and I just left Don a while ago. He's probably headed to the golf course. One thing about it, if you live in Williams, Arizona, sooner or later, all of your relatives and friends are going to come to see you so you can take them to the Grand Canyon. The first 5 years, you'll be busy doing that. So what we do in Williams, we try to create an environment, like I said earlier, that people will stay here and enjoy Williams for Williams. Even if we didn't have the Grand Canyon, it would still be a great place to come. It's also a great place to come as a tourism spot, to come here, stay, and do day trips from here. You can do a day trip to Sedona. You can do a day trip to the Grand Canyon. You can do a day trip to Flagstaff. There's all kinds of local areas too. Out in the Kaibab and Coconina Forest, you can do day trips. We've got wildlife, elk, deer. You can almost any given day go out in the forest and see some of that. So lakes, you can go out and get your canoe and get on a lake, or you can go fishing. So there's just so much that you can do. Williams, Arizona is the coolest town that you could visit as a tourist. The old town of Williams, of course, the main street that goes through the town is Route 66, the Mother Road. The Mother Road, of course, is many years old. I saw just the past week where Martin Milner died, who helped make Route 66 famous. He was one of the actors that did the Route 66 show back in the 60s. So, yeah, it's like it used to be, and I'm proud of that. And as long as I'm mayor, I'll do everything to keep it as it was. While we need growth, we need the proper growth. While we need investment, we need the proper investment. I tell a story recently. A theme park wanted to develop on the north side of town, and they said, we're going to make a replica of Route 66 so that people can come here and see how it used to be. And I said, well, that doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense to me when you can walk 3 blocks and see the real Route 66. So that's what we've got that goes through our town, Route 66. And yes, it is popular. And yes, it is well known. And yes, it is visited by many, many Europeans and Chinese and all other countries. You know, I don't want to overdo it because we love the tourists, and the tourists are what bring our business. But if you want to take a trip and have anything you want to do, we've talked about music. Now we're talking about lakes and fishing. We've talked about Route 66. We've talked about Arizona, a wildlife drive-through park. It's one of the coolest zoos. We've got an 18-hole golf course that's second to none in the state. It's beautiful. So we've got it all right here. We've got some of the finest restaurants. We've got restaurants that make homemade pies. We've got restaurants that make the best steaks in the country. We've got it all right here. Of course, people ask me, what special events do you have? Williams is the event. You can come to Williams anytime and find something to do and find something going on. We have tremendous car shows every year. We always have one or two big car shows, nice car shows. You know, Williams is one of the few places that didn't just totally shut down through this COVID epidemic. And right now we're sitting on 0 cases of the COVID-19. So we're glad to have people here. Our pay is based on tourism. I guess I'm stroking my own ego, but I kind of like the idea that I'm considered a hometown hero. I kind of like the idea that I've helped develop this town. I used to be a little reluctant to say that, but you know what? I have helped, and now I'm going to talk about it a little bit when I get the opportunity. So, entertainment and cowboys and Route 66, the Bill Williams Mountain Men, you know, Grand Canyon Railway, Arizona. Williams, Arizona's got a lot to offer.
Following our interview with Mayor Moore, he showed us around his office and some of his memorabilia.
A Cupid doll was our school mascot where I graduated from high school. That Cupid doll came to me from a guy named Ken Sweet. I sat on a board that was called NACOG, Northern Arizona Council of Governments. And Ken Sweet was the executive director of that board. And he sat next to me at the board one day and he said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "I'm from Missouri." "Where are you from?" He said, "I'm Missouri too." And I said, "Really, where'd you go to school?" And he said, "Hickman High School." And I said, "You must be a Cupid doll." We were the only ones that would know what a Cupid doll was. So some months later, at a tourism convention, what they call it, Arizona Office of Tourism, I'm at the meeting, you know all those tourism people. I'm at the meeting, he calls me up on stage and he presents me with that Cupid doll. And what was interesting, we went to the same high school at the same time and did not know each other. This is a picture of it was a fireball run. They do a trip across America every year to help recover kids that have been lost and never found. This is a cowboy hard hat because I have to go on jobs. So if I have to go on a job that requires a hard hat, I got one. I don't like to give up my my hat.
Persona.
Yeah. So and persona, that big word you got. So yeah, some of this stuff is kind of cool. There's a 12-year service award. There's this is an award that I'm proud of. This is Run for the Wall. This happened to be 2011. I've supported Run for the Wall. I don't know if you're familiar with what that is. That's a veterans group that goes to Washington, D.C. every year on Memorial Day. That's one. I've got one of those for every year. This is a memorial at the west end of town, a veterans memorial. And what happened here several years ago, 2 or 3 of us were standing downtown looking in a window and it was decorated up for Memorial Day. And I said, "Guys, we don't even have a memorial for the veterans of this town. You know, we had 6 kids killed in Vietnam within a 2-year period. A town this size lose 6 servicemen." So I got together with some other people and I built that memorial. You go down at the west end of town and look at it. It's called Memorial Park. It's pretty cool. Over the year, we will have any kind of event that tweaks the interest of any person, whether it be a car show, a fishing trip, a golf outing, Arizona, the Grand Canyon Railway, the Cataract Creek Gang, Patriots Day Parade, 4th of July fireworks, and it goes on and on and on. Williams, Arizona is the event. There's always something to do here. Williams, Arizona is the event, period.
Hometowns and heroes all across this land. Hometowns and heroes, let's give them a hand.
Join us again next time to hear another inspiring story featuring our next hometown hero. If you have a hero in your hometown, let us give them a hand.